Hey, what is up guys, Bonfiggy here, and today I thought I might do a create a class setup video for you guys, so that way, in case you guys are new to the game of Call of Duty Black Ops 2, you could get some really good classes to work towards and that sort of stuff. So, I'm going to start out with my first class, and this is my absolute favorite, the MSMC. That's probably one of the best guns in the game in my opinion. I like to use the silencer, extended mags, and grip, and one of the things that I don't really find that necessary in this game, first of all, is the lethals. They're not absolutely necessary. I always have that urge to throw a grenade right after I die or something. So that's going to be something you have to get used to. And you don't really need tacticals. But for the case of this class, I guess I have one extra thing, as you guys can see, 9 out of 10. I guess I can throw on a C4. I like the C4s in this game. So my perk setups, obviously, I want to be using Ghost because this is kind of my flanking class. I like to just run around the enemy spawn. Obviously, it's an SMG. That's what it's meant to do, run around with. Just rush, that sort of stuff. And this is probably one of the most dominant SMGs in the game, like I said. So my perk 2 is Scavenger because you got to have that ammo. You don't want to be switching weapons, picking up enemies because that can screw you over sometimes. And for my perk 3, I like to use Awareness because the enemy movements, obviously you can hear them better. It's a little bit worse than Sitrep Pro. It's not as good, obviously, because Sound Whoring, it's not that great in this game. And the other thing you could go with is Tactical Mask, because a lot of people have been using those shock grenades where you basically get paralyzed, and those things are really annoying. And I found that if you use this perk right here, it actually pretty much totally cancels those shock grenades. So that's definitely another good way to go with. But I like Awareness because I'm kind of a sound sort of guy. I like to know where the enemies are coming from. And that just helps out a little bit. Like I said, then I use C4. And lethal and tactical, it's not really necessary. And you never really want to be running a secondary attachment because it's honestly just a waste. Secondary is pretty much just for a last second moment. If you run out of ammo or something, you need to switch to it real fast. And then obviously to get the 3 attachments, I'm using Primary Gunfighter. Then for the second class setup, this is another really great gun. This is probably tied for the MSMC actually. But I like to use the grip because, first of all, the recoil, it's a little bit bad on this weapon when you start getting to long distances. Then extended mags because, first of all, the fire rate's really fast on this weapon, so you go through bullets pretty fast. And the clip size is not that great. And then I also like to use the silencer, obviously, to get those 3 I have to have the Primary Gunfighter. And I'm going to throw on some C4 for this class as well. And I'm using pretty much the same exact perk setup. That's what I like to use for my SMGs. Moving on, this is actually one of my favorite assault rifles in the game, the AN-94. I like to use the foregrip because the recoil, it can be bad. It's actually not too bad on this weapon, but it does help out a lot with the accuracy. And I don't really use an extended mags on this because it doesn't seem like it's necessary because it doesn't have such a fast fire rate. So I like to use quick draw. And that basically, it's like the perk in Modern Warfare 3, you aim up your gun faster. That helps with assault rifles actually quite a bit because obviously when you're using SMGs, you can hip fire if it comes to the worst situation, you're not ready for the gunfight. But for these, I like to be able to aim down nice and fast, and I'm also using the silencer. And then Cap 40 secondary, C4, pretty much the same exact perk setup except right here I'm using lightweight because you obviously move a little bit slower. Another perk that I really like to use, there's a lot of really great ones in perk 1 setup, but Flak Jacket if you're playing Nuketown, definitely. Ghost if you're using an SMG or if you just want to remain sneaky. And Hardline if you're going for those big kill streaks because it actually can help out. But since this is an assault rifle, I like to use lightweight, so I'll go ahead with that. And then I have to use Primary Gunfighter again as well. And then this is a really interesting class actually. This is one that I wasn't too sure of at first, but it actually seemed to work out pretty well. And the one thing is, I don't have a secondary on this setup, so it takes some getting used to. You gotta remember that you don't have a secondary, so you gotta kind of conserve your ammo and everything. But I'm using the silencer. I pretty much use that on all my classes as default because I don't like not having a silencer. I don't like showing up on the UAV, so I have a silencer. And then this is one perk or attachment that I want to talk about, the Select Fire. And that's one of those things that's actually really good for the Type 25. It's normally a 3-round burst weapon, but this actually makes it a fully auto weapon, which actually does help out quite a bit, so I'm going to be using that as well. And as you guys can see, I'm using 5 perks in this class setup. So I first of all have Toughness, and I find that actually helps out a lot on assault rifles because if you're taking bullets, you flinch less. Then I have Scavenger because that way I don't ever have to worry about running out of ammo. And then this is kind of almost like a stealth and sound whore class, so I don't hear the enemies can't hear me, and then I can hear them louder, which does help out a lot. I know sound whoring's not that big of a deal in this game, so you might not need to use dead silence. You could use something like Tactical Mask, like I said, or Dexterity. It's decent. It's kind of like Steady Aim Pro in Modern Warfare 3. But that's pretty much up to you guys. Don't really need a lethal or tactical. It may be a little bit different trying to get used to no secondary, and that could definitely hurt you in some situations, but I find that I can use extra perks, and that actually helps me out a lot more than lightweight. Like I said, for the assault rifles, that's what I like to run. But Ghost is always good, Hardline, Flak Jacket. I don't really find a need for Blind Eye because they generally don't get kill streaks against me because I'm slaying them, you know. But this is the last class up, and this is probably one of my favorite assault rifles along with the AN-94. It's the M881. I like to use the silencer. Then I use fast mags because I don't really find that extended mags is that necessary on this class. I think fast mags is a little bit better. That's like sleight of hand and then quick draw so you can aim down nice and quick. And then I got the Cat 40 secondary. That's always a good pistol to have. I really like that. And then another one I want to show you guys is actually this one right here, the 3-round burst pistol. That thing is a monster as well. You can use either one of those. I prefer this one because it's fully automatic. And then primary gunfighter, obviously, as my wild card to get the 3 attachments. I like to use a Semtex on this class. It's a little bit of a rushing class, lightweight, toughness. You could actually go with Scavenger. That would be a pretty good idea as well because the ammo, it's somewhat limited in Black Ops 2, so you could go with that. And then I pretty much run awareness as default, so that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Those are my top 5 class setups. I just want to give you guys a few tips. There's obviously some other better weapons, like one more I want to give you guys. It's actually a SMG, the POW 57. I like to use Silencer and Grip, which seems to work out pretty well. You can also throw on a third perk and use extended mags, but it already has a 50-round clip, so that's not that necessary, but that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you did enjoy, and please be sure to leave the video a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm out, guys. Peace.